file. So if you are just watching I'm actually going to just show this part of the YouTube video. If you are just watching the YouTube video with this with this spreadsheet error, go to the YouTube video show notes and click on the link to listen to the full podcast episode where I talk about why this problem exists and how we can solve for it. So here is the table. We have countries in column B. We have like the years of coverage in column C. And then we have these 4 buckets for debt to GDP. And the numbers inside the cells are real GDP growth rates. So we have 30% or less, 30 to 60%, 60 to 90, 90% above. I'm actually going to put up percentages here just so this is very clear that these are percentages. And this is actually a replica of the actual spreadsheet that Reinhart and Rogoff showed in their paper. And so the one Excel error I want to focus on is the average. So if you look at the incorrect average, let's look at this the formula here. It says the average is D5 to D19. So we're looking at the real GDP growth rates for the 30% or less bucket. And you can see how it omits rows 20 to 24 from these, from these developed countries, Denmark, Canada, Belgium, Austria, and Australia. And you can see how as the percent of debt to GDP goes up in these 4 buckets, the real GDP growth rate decreases from 4.1 down to negative 0.1%. If you are taking the average excluding Denmark, Canada, Belgium, Austria, and Australia. Now the correct average simply looks at all the rows in the table. It's that simple. And my numbers don't actually reflect the actual correct results that Hearn and Nash and Poland talk about in their paper. This 0.3 is actually supposed to be a 2.2, but we're going to forget that for now. But the key point here is that this number now takes into account the 90% or above average, takes into account this 2.6 real GDP growth rate from Belgium. And so we have a positive 0.3% growth. And so this is a really simple Excel error where how do you know that your average is accounting for all the rows in your table if you're not constantly checking the formula to see if it's correct, referencing the correct range of cells. So I'm going to propose 3 different methods that you can use to make sure that your averages are, or even some formulas are correctly referencing the correct numbers. So number 1, and actually let me just go through the reasons and I'll talk about why people don't do this. So number 1, just select these cells and look in the bottom right of your Excel file or your Google Sheets file. Excel automatically gives you the sum or average when you select the cells. So if I click on this, I can see average is 0.3, which is the correct number. I can see the sum is 2.1, all these different, statistical calculations. If you just simply select the cells, you can see the number, and there's no formulas required. Nothing super advanced. It's a simple way to do error checking on your numbers. Okay, number 2, this is actually my preferred way of doing it. And this is actually something I would recommend for a lot of the analysts out there who are doing a lot of models, is to provide checksums. Now this is normally done to see if your sums correctly match up, but in this case we're going to do an average, which is a little different, but the concept is still the same. So down here I'm going to write the word checksum. And this is, again, a way to verify that our sums and averages match up with what we expect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do equals sum, and then sum these numbers up here, and then drag this formula to the right. So these numbers just contain all the sums of all my numbers. So you might say, well, how do I make sure, how can I verify that this formula correctly references all the correct cells? So there really is no way to ensure that you've done this correctly also, But hopefully by doing this twice, if you've done it, this is like these two rows right here, the rows 26 and 27, your incorrect and correct averages. That's kind of like your output to your paper and for Reinhart Rogoff. This checksum is purely internal use. And so if you're doing this a second time, hopefully you're not making the same Excel error again. So just go with me, follow along with me here as I do this. So this is the sum of all these cells. And what I like to do and what I've seen a lot is you make these kind of a smaller font, maybe make them italicized, and also make it kind of like a light gray. So we have these sums, maybe making it a little darker gray. And then we also can do a count. Now I'm going to do the count formula, not count A, because you notice in my data there's like these not NA values. Count A will count those values. I want to count only the numeric values. So I'm going to select all my cells here, drag this number to the right, whoops, and then apply the same formatting here to my count number. All right, so now I have the count, I have the sum, and now what I can do is do something called check average. If this is, you can name this whatever you want. Let's just apply the formatting again to these as well, paste special format. And what I'm going to do here is say equals if I'm going to look at the incorrect average. So equals if incorrect average equals checksum divided by the count, then I can say no error, else error. And what I can do here also is I can do some conditional formatting where I say conditional formatting. Let's say if cell text contains text exactly error, then I'm going to make this like a red background, a white font color, done. And you can see really quickly what I'm doing here is if I see that, what I'm basically looking here is checking to see if my incorrect average, which is, we know it's bad, if it does not match the checksum divided by the count, then we get an error. And why is this important? So if you are looking at building this model out and you see these giant red error boxes, you already know that there's something wrong with your averages. So obviously if I move this reference down by 1 to D27, I get no error, right? So this is kind of like the power of using this error checking kind of visual notification. It's a way for you as a modeler to know that whether or not your actual summary output is matching up with what you expect by comparing the output with like these checksum values. Now you could actually put a lot of what's usually more common is you actually will put these numbers, the checksum plus the count, inside this formula. So instead of doing D28 divided by D29, I could do sum here. And then parentheses, this will be count, right? Because that's just the count of my numbers. Whoops, let's see here. And this will have the same, oh, actually, I did something wrong here. Count, oh, I have an extra equals here. And then in this way, I can actually delete these two rows. And this, it's like one row to see whether or not I made an error in my formula. So if I make this correct, equals average, then you'll see that I get no error down here. And this, of course, matches up our correct average. So I'm going to leave this here for the kind of purposes of this exercise. But using these checksum and check average kind of notifications gives you a quick visual indicator of whether or not your actual table output is correct. Now the final one, and this is something I don't do too often, but the final one is just do a simple pivot table. You select the entire table, data, pivot table, create. And the pivot table is kind of like a simple way of letting you know if you're also on the right track. So For my rows, I'm going to say country. And then for values, I'm going to say 30% or less. These are again, our debt to GDP buckets. Let's do the last one. I'm starting above. And the key thing here is I'm going to change all these to average. Average. Sorry, no, my screen is super zoomed in here. Average. And there we go. So we have the average numbers, but the important thing is I can go down to my last grand total row, and that I can compare these numbers. I'm going to do a copy and paste values here. I can compare these numbers and see if these four numbers match up with what I expect, and it matches up with our correct average. And if I don't see that they match up with my incorrect average, then I obviously know there's something wrong with my Excel formula because I did not reference all the cells in my table correctly. So the pivot table is a way to do this because you're hopefully selecting the entire table to build a pivot table. And then you can do these grand average totals to figure out if you are doing this correctly. So those are the three different methods I would use to fix this simple Excel coding error when you are not sure if you've correctly referenced the proper rows in your table. Okay, for the second half of this episode, I'm going to talk about a few things that I came across recently